Good evening and welcome to everyone on Love 101 FM, Facebook, and YouTube Live. This is Family Time, and we're going to talk about your issues and your relationships. Family Time is about your at home family, your community family, and your global family. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. So stay with us and please connect with us via all our platforms. Friend us on Facebook at FLM-Family Life Ministries. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA, and on Instagram, you can keep up with what's happening at simply FLMJA. While Family Time is a family program, we'd like to caution you that it may, on the odd occasion, touch on what some might consider mature subject matters, so your discretion is advised. I'm Roland Gale. I'm guessing that for most of us, like the song says, it's the most wonderful time of the year. But some of us are just not feeling it. Does singing Joy to the World make you feel like a hypocrite? And is dreaming of a white Christmas bringing you to tears? No happy holiday happening for you? And don't even ask. Santa Claus, do you ever come to the ghetto? He's not meeting you uptown either. And it's not because you were naughty. Whether it's loneliness, anxiety, grief, stress, or depression, you don't feel like celebrating and the holiday is not bright, it is just blue. Sounds like we need to be talking about the holiday blues and what to do about it. As usual, there is a whole lot to talk about. And while we do that, we want to hear from you with as many answers to our question as you can find. Here it is. How do you overcome the holiday blues? Send your answers via WhatsApp text and WhatsApp voice notes to 997-3125. That's 997-3125. And try to keep those voice notes to no longer than 30 seconds. You can also watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and Love 101 FM YouTube. We'll be right back with our special guest, Pastor Napoleon Black. Don't go anywhere.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. And you're invited to the Season Splendor Christmas Small Business Expo.
That's right, on Saturday, December 21 from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Head on over to Campion College for a one-of-a-kind Christmas shopping experience.
Discover amazing local businesses, unique gifts, delicious treats, and so much more. Perfect for everyone on your list.
It's a holiday shopping spree like no other. And the best part, it's free. Yep. You heard right. Free.
So grab your family, bring your friends, and come shop with love this Christmas. Don't miss out on the fun, the deals, and the holiday cheer.
We can't wait to see you at Season Splendor Expo, Saturday, December 21 at Campion College. Let's make this Christmas extra special.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101 FM. And welcome to our special guest, Pastor Napoleon Black. Pastor Black has been in full-time Christian ministry for 30 years, 23 of those years as the pastor at Marvelly Gospel Hall. He has had the same wife, I love it, Anita, for 36 years. They are parents of 2 adult children and they have 3 grandchildren. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm giving thanks, giving thanks.
Excellent. Good to have you on this evening.
Yeah, man, happy to be here.
Great, great, great. Now, to our listeners and our viewers, remember, we want you to answer this question. How do you overcome the holiday blues? WhatsApp your text and voice notes to 997-3125 and try to keep your voice notes no longer than 30 seconds. We want to hear from you. And you can watch us and comment live on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. So we're going to get going because there's a lot to talk about. And our topic this evening is holiday blues and what to do about them. First things first, let's try and understand what we are talking about. And I want to read something, Pastor,
Yeah,
that I found. And just to give our discussion some context, and this is from a report that was published by the National Alliance on Mental Illness out of the United States. It says approximately 75% of respondents reported that the holidays contribute to feeling sad or dissatisfied. 68% said they are feeling financially strained. 66% are experiencing loneliness over the holidays. 63% say that they are suffering from too much pressure, and 57% say they are facing unrealistic expectations. 50% of the people who responded were unable to be with their loved ones. Now, that's a lot of mental pressures.
yes, yes,
In my opinion, that's a lot of mental pressures.
yes, it is.
What are these holiday blues about?
So first of all, they are this temporary. I want to stress temporary feelings of sadness, anxiety, depression. Usually come around the holiday period, especially around the end of year period, the Christmas period, as we call it in our Christian space. That makes people feel down, a little bit down. Um, if it becomes severe, then it takes on another hue. So it moves away from holiday depression to what the psychologists and therapists call the seasonal affective disorder, which is a whole different thing. Even though some of these features are quite similar, it's just the degree to which the thing is marked. So it is more temporary feeling of sadness that comes, a temporary feeling of anxiety that overtakes a person, and sometimes depression that comes along with it in the Christmas season generally.
I like how you bring up the word temporary, sir,
Yeah.
because I was thinking about when you said it usually comes at the end of the year. We have holidays all year.
Yes.
Is it about this particular holiday at the end of the year that brings on those temporary feelings?
Sometimes the atmosphere of this time of the year is one of hope, is one of excitement, is one that very often moves people more to the ideal of who we are, and sometimes the pushback of their reality um, creates this dissonance in just what is happening. Hope, um, expectations, and so on, as against what am I really in, what am I really feeling, what am I up against in my actual sphere.
Right. So it's like reality knocking on the door and saying, "Let me in."
Absolutely, absolutely. When
Wow.
the atmosphere is joie la vive, that kind of a
Right.
thing. Yes,
Right.
yes.
Right. Is there any way that you would particularly describe individuals who have this kind of holiday blues? Are they do they fit a particular mold, or how would you describe them?
Normal. normal
Normal.
normal human beings
Wow.
like myself, because
Yes.
this time of the year is not a particularly joyful time for me, and there are people like myself who don't find the Christmas period um, particularly attractive. um, we will sing Santa catch up in a mango tree for the fun of it. but we have no idea of what Santa is. Never visited us, never came to my ghetto, kind of a thing. Um,
Yes,
and the Christmas stories and the Christmas energy, we don't associate with very well and very easily. So there are those of us who, not for any particular significant religious philosophical reason, just don't connect with the Christmas atmosphere much, and
that's
outside of Christmas we're good, but at Christmas time it comes at us and does that to us.
I find this extremely interesting. And I go back again to the temporary aspect of it because it is not something that we feel all year long. So, when would
True.
it usually kick in and how long does it last?
The information says around December, goes on up till about January thereabout. So it is really concentrated in that period of time largely. Um, so the idea of the joyfulness of Christmas don't reach many of these persons who are trying to navigate their own emotions. Why do I feel this way? What is jolting me away from the excitement and the joy and all of that of Christmas? They are processing in another space for different reasons.
For different reasons. Are there things that can trigger these holiday blues like a snap of a finger?
Yeah. Um, Especially for those who have lost a loved one around this time of the year, it can be particularly challenging. And for those who are in fact just losing someone in this period of time too, it can be quite a damper. I mean, how they see this, how they see the period, and how they will continue to see the period. Um, Persons who perhaps have to be relocating away from family and friends, it can also be it can also be a challenge. Persons who perhaps have to be taking care of friends and relatives who have particular challenges, they don't have the space to do some of the things that other persons would easily and freely do. So they too feel a little bit constrained. Of course, there are those of us who have the financial pressure.
Right. I get you, sir. But I didn't ask the question correctly. What I
Oh,
wanted to find out
mm.
is if things like a Christmas carol could trigger
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes,
those.
yes, yes. Mhm.
Yes. Is that at all possible?
It is possible. Sometimes it's just a thought that is triggered that causes somebody to go in that direction. And you're right. You're right. You're quite right. A carol might trigger something. Sometimes too, just as some of the fragrances of the period can trigger off different
Wow.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
even think of that.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. So,
What we consider the nice
yeah, man.
sorrel and
Yeah, man.
gungo peas, gungo rice and peas.
Can trigger somebody in a particular kind of direction. But
Wow.
but I'm understanding that generally these are the persons who are more in the depressed, mentally challenged space more than just
The normal
experiencing
person.
the blues more. Yes, so,
Right.
so those are some of the realities and some of the issues that people have to face.
We have
Perhaps,
to go for a break
all
now,
right,
so I'm going
okay.
to ask you to
Yes,
just
I.
hold on to that thought and ask our listeners and viewers to remember to answer our question. It is, how do you overcome the holiday blues? We're looking forward to hearing and seeing what you have to say. Send your answers to our WhatsApp number at 9973125. And you can also send your comments to our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. And just so that you know, the numbers for the FLM head office in Kingston are 920-1034 and 926-8101. Stick around. We're talking with Pastor Napoleon Black, and it's very interesting. Soon be back.
It's a one in a million feeling when it starts to ring. Everyone starts to giving. Flow, gifts keep on giving. Christmas in Jamaica. Flow makes every day better by Christmasing with you. Everyone who signs up for Yard and Road for only $5,300 plus GTC gets a $25,000 supermarket card. Plus, 5 lucky customers could win extra cash of $1 million each. Sure, Christmasing is the most time of the year. Offer ends December 31, 2024. Conditions apply.
GK1 now introduces third-party motor insurance from GK General Insurance. Download and log into the GK1 app. Then select one of 3 affordable third-party options, 25, 35, or 40,000 annually. But there's more. For a limited time, when you purchase a third-party insurance on the GK1 app, you get $1,000 in your GK1 wallet. Yes, money back just like that. One app, 3 motor insurance options from GK General Insurance. Download and insure your car on the GK1 app today.
This holiday season, JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union Limited wants you to spruce up your celebrations with our Christmas combo loan at up to $200,000 at fixed interest rate, no credit check, and up to 24 months to repay. It's never been a better time to join. Membership is easy and you may be eligible. Conditions apply. Call us or visit www.jpscu.com to learn more and get started today. JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union Limited, your financial partner for life.
Jamaica. Bird's Auto Parts is now your home for genuine and non-genuine Kia parts. From body to suspension, engine, and service parts, we've got what your Kia needs to keep you moving smoothly. Visit us today and power your Kia. And remember, it hurts if you don't check Bird's.
Here again, Bible Society of the West Indies will be having its pre-Christmas store-wide sale December 16 to 24. Discounts range from 15% to 80%. Come and visit us at 24 Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, opposite the Halfway Tree Municipal Court. Come get your Bibles, books, devotionals, and other scripture resources for adults and children at discounted prices. It's the Bible Society's pre-Christmas store-wide sale December 16 to 24, 2024.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to Family Time, and we're talking about the holiday blues and what to do about them. You're listening to Love 101 FM, and I have with me Pastor Napoleon Black. And as we continue our conversation, sir, I want to bring up something you said a little earlier on. No, you know what? Before I do that, you had a thought at the break, and I want you to continue that thought, please, sir, if you can.
Yeah, I was just thinking of how simple things can trigger people into these spaces and into these feelings. It doesn't take a lot, and this does not mean that somebody is ill. It's just a part of how they are processing this particular time of the year.
Absolutely. Thank you for adding that, sir. I wanted to go back to something you had said earlier, that for you, this is not a particularly happy time of the year either.
Yes.
And I wanted, because we are asking our listeners what they do about it. I wanted to ask you, what do you do about it, sir?
I talk about it. And of course, a part of the challenge is I'm also a church leader, and Christmas is important to church. And that's how to balance your own feeling without creating any unnecessary dissonance in the church community. I can't say, hey, I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't know Christmas around here.
Hey, as you said that, sir, we need to do a topic about leaders.
Yes.
And how leaders manage when these things actually impact them personally.
Absolutely.
Because often, I'm sure some of your members are listening, and I hope they will remember.
Yeah, man, they do. And happily wants to share, precious things with you as well. And you graciously receive them, because people's hearts are good and kind and so on. And they too want to cheer you up, kind of a thing.
Yes, even though that's not necessarily what you want at the moment.
Absolutely. I might well want silence, but they want you to go out of their space. And that's good. Yeah.
But it takes a lot out of our leadership sometimes.
It does,
and
absolutely.
We pray for you, sir. Don't worry.
Thank you,
in prayer.
Absolutely.
Just want to say as well, the holiday marks an impending new year.
Mm-hmm.
And people tend to reflect on the past year, and it may not have been the best of years. Sometimes we have regret, or we're looking at a failure, or any other number of negative emotions.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
'Cause at the time of the
these things,
year, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, these things do factor in a great deal, don't they?
They do. And you know, we are usually the hardest persons on ourselves, especially when we have set some goals, and for one reason or another, we didn't meet them. And so we're doing the assessment, and we always feel that we could have put in a little bit more. We always feel that we could have done better. We always feel that we could have stretched ourselves a little. There's always more that we think that we can do and should have done. And so sometimes the self-flagellation comes at this time of the year as well. Um,
That self-flagellation is just beating yourself,
yeah, man, and
and there's no
also
need for it.
yeah, and sometimes too, even in our own family setting, was I a good enough husband over this year to my wife? Did I care for my children as well as I
Why
think
you
I
step
should?
on the car now, Pastor? Oh
I
boy.
mean, yeah, and sometimes these things come back at us, and it pushes us down a little bit for some of us, and we are resolving to do better next year, but we still don't know if it will be better at the end of the next year. So it becomes
Oh
a
yeah,
kind of recurring thing that we contend with.
absolutely. Earlier on, you had started to tell us about some of the causes of the blues. Can you go back over those and give us a little more?
Yeah, when we are in a space of stress, and again, just for the blues component, we're not talking about chronic stress in that way, but how we feel different things become stressors for us.
Right. For example, like financial stress or something
Yeah,
like
man.
that.
That's important. Um, Relationship stress. How the relationship is going. Especially at this time, we may want to do some things with family, and there may be some constraints that prevent it. We want to express holiday in a particular way, and we have some factors and stressors that stand in the way of it. Of course, there's a whole issue where Christmas and the commercial aspect has always been a factor from the first Christmas, so to speak, to the time of taxation and so on. Um, and
Wow.
yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, man. How
Tax your pocket.
Yeah, man, it touches you deeply. You want to be there for your friends, and the money is X amount. You know what I mean? And you want to be there for family, but the money is X amount, and sometimes Christmas has come more to mean about the giving and the receiving of gifts than the giving and the receiving of persons. So the focus gets shifted sometimes, and sometimes we want to be impressive. We want to be generous. Um, we want to show people that we value them by the money value that we place in a particular gift to them. And sometimes this can be very, very stressful. It's a part of the um, unrealistic expectations that sometimes we impose on ourselves, and that we impose on our friends as well.
Right. There's a cause that I came across, sir,
Mhm.
and it is this thing about excess, whether we overeat or we undersleep or
Yeah,
we overdrink, or
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
does excess really have a role to play in this?
oh,
Excess
absolutely.
of any kind.
Yeah, man, any kind, and the idea of moderation, but even moderation can be excess.
Yeah.
We have to watch
Okay.
out for all of those things that
Okay.
that impact us in a way that the balance is maintained. So important.
Right. I remember one holiday in particular. I didn't get very much sleep.
Mm,
And although I don't think I suffered from any kind of holiday blues as a result of it? If you keep doing that, would that cause you to eventually begin to feel some unease and all of that?
The good
Lack of
thing,
sleep.
the good thing is, since it is temporary, it really shouldn't.
Okay.
But if it becomes a part of how you are living your life as a lifestyle, it becomes a lifestyle condition, and that will, as we know, create its own set of problems.
Will create its own set of problems.
Hmm.
There is another one that I thought of and I saw when I was doing some reading, and it is
Hmm.
this business of not being where you would like to be.
Yes. Again, where you are in your relationships, if that's where your focus is. I am not with my friends. I am not with my relatives, and so on. So that too can create some problems. I am in a unfamiliar space, so to speak, and that too can create its own sets of issues. It's around a time when you'd rather be with people that you're most comfortable with, that you're used to. And so if you have just shifted location, if one reason or the other you're in a place that you have just moved location from one country to another, you have just started schooling from one location to another, things like those can affect you and raise the stress level, in terms of what is happening in the period, especially when everybody else is just connected with everybody else, and you don't have nobody to connect with. It can add to the stress levels there.
Oh yeah, you just said something a while ago that we need to be careful about, particularly
Mhm.
as church members. We need to
Yeah,
remember those who may not be in their own space
yeah.
around this time
Hmm.
and reach
Hmm.
out to them.
Absolutely.
Um, there is this other thing as well, breakups.
Yes.
Can that cause these feelings of the blues?
It does, and in that space where you're losing something that's of great value to you in a particular relationship, that breakup can have serious effect. And this, by the way, is not only doesn't only have to do with the blues, the period of the blues, but any time of the year it can create problems such of this nature. So breakups especially can be very debilitating, can cause you not to eat, not to sleep, to be to drink, to do crazy things, to make you behave out of character, especially when it involves somebody else that you've grown to be committed to, and so on.
Wow, and around Christmas time, if you begin to do those excess things
Yeah,
again,
man, it
it's
adds to the
it's all yeah, it's
challenge.
all a bit of a challenge. We're going
Hmm.
to go for a break again, sir, and we are reminding our listeners that you're listening to Family Time on Love 101 FM. You can catch us on YouTube and on Facebook. And Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries. For our social media interaction, we want you to tell us, how do you overcome the holiday blues? Tell us via WhatsApp text or voice notes, and the number is 997-3125. Keep those voice notes no longer than 30 seconds, but we want to hear from you. So send us a text or a voice note. And you can comment on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. This evening, we're talking about holiday blues and what to do about it. It's break time, but just before we go for the break, let's get a word from Reverend Mike in this episode of WTF, Word to Flesh Moments with Reverend Mike. Don't go away.
1 Samuel 30, verse 6 says, "And David was greatly distressed, because the soul of all the people was grieved. But David strengthened himself in the Lord." David came home from doing God's work, only to find that his home had been attacked and all the women and children had been taken. That's enough to give anyone the blues. But David strengthened himself in the Lord. This has become a powerful verse for me during times I'm feeling blue, unloved, or sad. Here's how you can strengthen yourself in the Lord when you're blue. Number one, build a relationship with God. You need to know God to be able to strengthen yourself in the Lord. Number 2, create reminders of God's promises. When the blues hit, we can easily forget what God has promised. Take a moment and write down scriptures like Deuteronomy 31:8 and Hebrews 13:5. Go do that now. Number 3, reflect on God's past goodness to you and thank Him. Blue times are good times to reflect on God's goodness. Do like the songwriter and sing right now. I want to thank you, Lord, that you ever thought of me. Many are the blessings that you give unto me. Number 4, renew an old friendship. If you're feeling blue, perhaps because no one is around you, take the time to call someone, an old friend, an associate, and renew a friendship. Number 5, remember, blue is a feeling, not a reality. American author Robert II wrote, once you learn how to create your own happiness, no one can take it from you. I'm Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle, and we just had a WTF moment.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Truth is, HIV affects everyone. The truth is, avoiding care leads to a weaker immune system. That means you could get really sick. The truth is, the hardest pill to swallow isn't the medication. It's the problems that follow when you don't take them. Let's get through this together. Remain in care. You can live life to the fullest with HIV. And that's the truth. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Every Saturday, 7 p.m. to midnight on Love 101. You're invited to travel in time with music at its best. It's a gospel music machine with the gospel music master. From your favorite choir music to Christian contemporary, a touch of reggae and the Caribbean feel.
Gospel music machine.
Till I play the tune. Yep, the gospel music master is still playing the tunes down alone. And he's definitely your music master. Saturdays, 7 p.m. to midnight. You won't regret the link. It's on the family station, Love 101.
Receive words of strength from the Voice of Power with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis.
The battle of seed has been declared many years ago and it's still raging. I will put enmity between thee and between the woman, thy seed and their seed. A war will be on perpetually until Jesus returns. But I know who has already won the war. Who has already won the war?
That's the Voice of Power with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis, brought to you by the Power of Faith Ministries International in Portmore. Voice of Power comes to you every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back, and it is now 4 minutes past 6 in the evening according to my clock, and you're tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries, and FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Our show this evening is about holiday blues and what to do about them. Experiencing holiday blues happens more often than we think. Sometimes we are experiencing it and we may not even realize it or think about it. So Pastor Napoleon Black,
Yes, sir.
what are the most common symptoms?
You feel a little bit of stress coming on, and you're wondering to yourself, why am I feeling this? level of stress. You begin to maybe get so concerned that you begin to lose your sleep. And that is something that you have to ask yourself, why am I not sleeping properly? Um, when you are eating more than you normally would, you know that you're in a place that is out of character. When you're feeling that sense of isolation and loneliness, again, you know that that's not the norm for you. When you're feeling some things that are like they're now out of work, out of control, and that's not how normally things would be for you, then you can begin to understand it. These are some things that are happening that are not normal and are causing you to be functioning in ways that are more out of your normal way of expression. So those might be some of the things that you might want to look at as well.
How do we navigate these symptoms if we see them in someone else but not necessarily in ourselves?
You're turning the paradigm away from the way Jesus set it. First, look at yourself.
Oh boy, oh boy. Let's assume I was looking at myself, but I didn't see it.
That's a good one. They call it blind spots, you know?
Yes, true, true, true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very true.
So it's always important to be able to see things, especially of this nature, in ourselves
In
first.
ourselves,
Yeah,
yes.
man. Because it makes us more authentic when we are able to identify some of these things in ourselves before we begin to point out what is happening or what we think may be happening to other people, and labeling what we think is happening to other people. So let's go there. If we think we're seeing that in other persons, let's begin with a conversation with the person. Questions, open-ended questions, so the person doesn't feel threatened, the person doesn't feel boxed in. If you're seeing something like that in somebody, and I would imagine that this would be somebody that you're close enough to have the permission because as you know, Roland, is not everybody we have the permission to share with at certain levels. Not even here at church do I think I have the permission to speak into some person's lives the way I would in the way of others. So that level of
Absolutely, sir.
I think it's important. So
Yes.
have the conversation, but also have the conversation in a way that leaves the person dignified. Do you know that sometimes we share with persons and after we're finished with them, they feel, what was that? What was that? What did I do? What was the conversation about? Didn't help. So if we can have conversations with persons that at least secure the person's sense of dignity and worth and value at the end, that's important. Then in the conversation space, let's deal with what we can deal with, and for heaven's sake, we don't cross over into territories and areas where we do not have the skill set nor the competence to treat with. So it may be that we are concentrating on those things that we're familiar with and know that we can deal with properly, and making appropriate referrals as necessary. If not, we're going to get into trouble. We're going to maybe hurt the person in the long run rather than help.
Pastor,
Yeah.
I love how you began this, and I love what you have said.
Yeah.
So now I am going to try and go back to the correct paradigm, right?
Yes.
And the correct paradigm would be for me to have a serious conversation with myself,
Yes. Why art
and
thou
I
cast
would,
down my soul?
why art thou cast down my soul?
Yes,
And I
yes,
would permit myself to do
yes,
this,
yes.
and I would do it without chastising or beating
Absolutely.
myself up,
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
because I really have to make sure that at the end of that
Mm-hmm.
process of self
Analysis. Hmm.
examination and self analysis, I can step away and be still, as you say, sir, dignified,
Yes, yes.
and recognize that this has not affected my worth or my value,
Absolutely.
but it is a way for me to now pass through and
Mhm.
get to where it is that the Lord would have me to go.
Absolutely.
deal with what I can deal with.
Yes.
And if I can't deal with it, get some help.
Right, right.
Man, I love how you put it like that.
Yeah.
That's excellent. That's
Thank
excellent,
God.
sir.
Thank God for that. Mm.
Yes, and there are some causes that we spoke about earlier. We spoke about things like doing things in excess. We spoke about changing patterns and all that kinds of stuff. What are some ways that we can really use to get over or to try to mitigate these holiday blues?
First of all, let's remember that this is not something that is permanent. Um, this too shall pass.
Yes,
It's not to dominate your life. It's not to dominate your thinking. It's not to make you think that, oh, my life is at an end, or I've acquired immune deficiency syndrome, socially, spiritually, or in any other way. It is
right.
something that is going to pass for those that it affects. Um, put yourself in spaces that constantly, positively, purposefully, intentionally affirm who you are. Because sometimes you're in this space and there may be persons who say, where you feel, where that for, where that for, and put you in in a place that makes you feel less than. And that's not the point. The point is, okay, let's have a positive frame about where I am and what my next steps should be. So think positively about it. Be around persons who are going to help you out of that space. You remember that situation with Jesus and the man by the pool. Man was
Yes, and he said
washed.
nobody was there to help
He
him.
said nobody was there to help, and that was not true.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
began to blame other people, But
yeah.
see people and see the resources that God has given to all of us. In the people that He places in our space, many of them are more than willing to come alongside us and give us some perspective. Think of your own inner resources that God has given to you, your own gifts, your own skills, your own talents, your own sense of. Just begin to think those positive things about yourself that God has done to make you um, be the person that you are, and that He wants you to be as well. Um, Watch out as well for those times where you are just denying what is happening, but be honest about it. This is how I'm feeling, and do some things about it that add to who you are qualitatively. At the end of the story, Jesus said to the man, stop sinning lest something worse happen to you. Remember now, this is a man who was healed from the sickness, but guess what? There was an inner thing that still needed to be resolved. Can you just be thankful? The man was not thankful that in fact, when he was asked who healed him, he said, I don't know. And just learning to be thankful for what you have, for who are around you, for the resources that God has made available to you. Learn simply. And you see, when we build into our psyche a sense of thankfulness, a sense of gratitude, it makes a huge difference. Be thankful for the people around you. Be thankful for what you have. Be thankful to God for opportunities that He's going to give you. Be thankful that in this situation you may even be learning some new things about you and how you relate to people. Please don't get trapped in the negativity of the moment. Don't buy into the feeling that this is about commercialization, and we get locked into that thinking. Think about how God has set you in this space where you are, simply to change others, and perhaps even to change some stuff about your own self.
Absolutely, Pastor. That is a good time for us to go and take our break. And I think this is our final break now. And remember, we have the question: how do you overcome the holiday blues? Send us your WhatsApp comments or text messages, or you can comment on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page. We want to hear from you. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.
I'm joyriding. CIBC Caribbean is giving 3 lucky clients the chance to win cash prizes this Christmas. Finance your vehicle with us for your chance to win, and we'll gift you 50% off the loan application fee, up to 100% financing, and up to 10 years to repay. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/joy of giving and apply for vehicle financing now. Terms and conditions apply.
Here again, Bible Society of the West Indies will be having its pre-Christmas store-wide sale December 16 to 24. Discounts range from 15% to 80%. Come and visit us at 24 Happy Park Plaza, Kingston 10, opposite the Halfway Tree Municipal Store. Come get your Bibles, books, devotionals, and other scripture resources for adults and children at discounted prices. It's the Bible Society's pre-Christmas store-wide sale December 16 to 24, 2024.
Receive words of strength from the Voice of Power with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis.
The battle of seed has been declared many years ago and is still raging. I will put enmity between thee and between the woman, thy seed, their seed. A war will be on perpetually until Jesus returns. But I know who has already won the war. Who has already won the war?
That's the Voice of Power with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis, brought to you by the Power of Faith Ministries International in Portmore. Voice of Power comes to you every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. right here on the Family Station, Love 101.
Are you a registered charity clearing charitable items during the holiday and in the new year? Here are some reminders from the Jamaica Customs Agency to assist you with your clearance. Ensure you have a valid copy of the Certificate of Registration from the Department of Cooperatives and Friendly Societies, a letter of authorization if applicable, the signed special declaration, the bill of lading or airway bill, your packing list, your invoice or receipts, a valid tax compliance certificate, and the relevant permit and licenses where applicable. Also, ensure that shipments are consigned to the charity at the registered address and that donations for schools are consigned to the National Education Trust. For customs-related queries, you may contact Jamaica Customs at 876-922-5140-8 or email public.relations@jca.gov.jm. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Welcome back. You're listening to Family Time on Love 101 FM, and the time is now 18 minutes past 6. And with me is Pastor Napoleon Black. Thank you for staying with me, sir. I think you're muted. Still. Yeah, while he gets his mic open, I just want to share, that I'm not a young man. Yes, I'm hearing you now. Great. Cool. I'm not a young man anymore. I'm a young man, but not a young man. And I've always loved the Christmas season, and it has been one of my favorite times of year for as far as I can remember. But in the last couple of years, that has changed a little bit. And one of the reasons why it has changed is because I don't get to spend time with some people who I would really love to spend time with over the Christmas. And I was looking at some tips that they give for how you're to get over the holiday blues and so on. And when I looked at some of them, I thought that this is counterintuitive. It don't sound right to me. So I want to throw a few at you, Pastor, and you can set me straight, or you can set us straight, and let us know what you think of these ways of getting over the holiday blues. The first one is that it says we are to learn to say no. What are we saying no to?
Well, let's back up a little bit, because if you cannot say no, your yes means nothing.
All right, you're mashing up with that. Go again.
If you cannot say no, your yes means nothing.
Wow. I get you, sir. I get you. That's a powerful one.
Yeah.
If you cannot say no, your yes means nothing, because yes is just
words.
There.
Everybody knows.
There.
Yeah. It's a serious character issue that helps to set clear boundaries for you when you're able to say no. And being able to say no don't mean that you're mean. It means that you're not enmeshed. It means that you're able to function fully and freely as a human being, as a person. Um, Means that you are not feeling obligated and indebted in that sense to always have to agree with everything to become a yes man and so on. So you don't need that. You need to stand in a place where you're firm and you can say no respectfully and invite persons to respect your no. For instance, in my space, grand market used to be a big thing. But I'm not a grand market fan, me and the crowd not do too well at all. And so I had to learn to say no in a way that was respectful, but appreciating that going down to Black River and standing in that square was a very, very, very big thing for the family. And just respect and appreciate that that's what they would want to do, especially when Grandma Maggie was alive, So that was
Right,
important
right.
for that family setting.
But you know, Rev,
Mhm.
why I found that a little counterintuitive is
Yes.
because one of the symptoms I think of
Mhm.
this kind of blues
Yes.
is you begin to say no to things you would normally say yes to, and you begin to pull yourself away. You begin to, in a sense, kind of shut off your yeses
Hmm.
because of the mental state
Yeah,
that
man.
you're in. Is that a
Fully,
factor?
fully understood, and I really appreciate that. And that's a good point to make. In other words, if you're going in a direction that is not that you're affirming yourself, but rather you're isolating yourself in a negative way, then you might need to step back and ask yourself, where am I going and why? And do a quick check to make sure that your reason is in the frame of self preservation rather than self alienation, if you get the distinction there.
Yes, I get the distinction, and that actually addresses the next one I was going to ask about, because the next one was find time for yourself.
Yeah, man, and this is important at many levels. But it
Yes,
must it must never be a fine time for yourself that is alienating, but rather that is self-preserving. Again, just learning to make the difference between those two, and it's very important. How much of myself can I give in terms of my inner resources? Um, and as you know, if you're on the airplane, they tell you, say you must secure yourself, but you can secure anybody else in that in that sense. So just making sure that you are healthy and strong and safe enough to be effective in caring for others. That too is important.
absolutely. And you brought up Jesus as our example, and
Mm.
he did that. He took himself away
Yeah, man.
sometimes.
And he knew the song very well. You know it? Take yourself away.
I don't know. I don't know. I need to go and look up that one. I need to go and look up that one. Okay, so throwing this one out at you as well, sir.
Yeah.
Set realistic expectations.
I feel, that this idea of realistic expectations, we should try not to do it alone. Because very often we can be very hard on ourselves because we're being realistic. On the other side, we can be very easy on ourselves because we want to be realistic. So, and because of the blind spot issue, we always need to pull in somebody, a good friend, who can help us to set those realistic expectations. Someone who knows us well enough, our strengths, our weaknesses, our proclivities, to help us to make realistic and set realistic expectations. I never suggest that we try to do the setting of the realistic expectations by ourselves. I tend to think that we try to do that in a space that is safe and affirming, but also that is going to demand a little bit more from us in terms of our goal setting and so on. Always important to do that.
Absolutely. And this is the last one I'm throwing at you now. It is about
Mhm.
being open to change. Is that a good thing or a bad thing around the Christmas and the holiday time?
It is a good thing, but I say it hesitatingly because we always want to stay in our space because we know how it feels in our space. We are safe in that space. We are comfortable in that space. To ask me to open out is to invite me to push me out from where I know I'm safe and comfortable. But I fully understand it and I fully appreciate it. Um, so somebody might be comfortable just having just once to meet, and then you're asking them to try something else because it is Christmas, and that it can be a good thing when they've had it. Say, I never thought I would have enjoyed this so much, or a place, or a space, or yes, something, and yes, it's important. I believe absolutely.
It is absolutely important. What
Mm.
role does the church play at this point?
What a question! And the cliche answer: remember the reason for the season.
Okay, that's a cliche answer.
Yeah.
What is another answer that you would give to that question, sir?
The role broadly. Why did Jesus come? Whether or not we think it was December 25 or September 4,
Wherever,
whatever it
yeah.
is, it is appreciating that in Jesus's own mandate is just understanding people, where they are, and how they can bring them into kingdom. I don't mean to preach now,
No, man,
bring,
that's fine. Go ahead.
how to bring them into kingdom, how to help them to understand that there is more to life. And I think Rick Warren talks about this life as a dress rehearsal for the next, and help to prepare people in this dress rehearsal space to live their lives in a way that really prepares them for the next. So the role of church in helping people who may be going through this is to help them to understand that one, this thing that you're going through is not a permanent thing. Two, if it is headed in that direction, here are some ways to navigate to a safer space of living and experiencing. Three, help them to break out some of those issues that may be challenging to them. And again, we have to look within church for those persons who very often will be the ones to offer the professional kind of care, because sometimes telling a person to pray about it don't shift the thing, or worse, to fast and pray about it really don't help. But you need the intervention of persons who have the spiritual competence to learn to bear each other's burden in helpful, practical ways to move them along and to move them beyond that place where the condition don't become chronic, the situation don't begin to hold them down in unhealthy and counterproductive ways, where they begin to see their lives in the big picture of what God wants of them, and help them to begin to understand that even the church community itself can be toxic, and have to retrain church to be more helpful and sensitive to persons in that kind of a space.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Pastor Napoleon Black. It's been a pleasure talking with you, sir. Any final words? Just give us a brief sentence.
God's reason for giving us community is that we might learn to build and grow, and to be sustainable, and be the kind of people that God wants us to be in serving each other, especially in the season that we're now in.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much for joining us today, sir. It has been my pleasure to
Mine
have
too, my
you.
friend, and good to see you again. it's been
Yes,
a,
sir.
it's been a,
Bless
it's been
you.
a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for being here with us,
Yeah.
all you who have joined and have spent this hour with us. We really appreciate you. If you have questions of a personal nature, or you're concerned about a friend or a family member, call us. For more information on our services, or for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island, contact our head office at 920-1034 or 926-8101. Note that if you want an appointment or information, you're going to have to call the offices, all right? Otherwise, you can keep up to date with what's happening with FLM and our programs by checking on our Facebook page, which is FLM Family Life Ministries, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA, and you can also check us on Instagram at FLMJA. Before we leave you, here's a quick reminder, and it's taken from Psalm 34, verse 5. Those who look to him for help will be radiant with joy. No shadow of shame will darken their faces. So join us again next week for another informative program. Thanks again to our special guest, Pastor Napoleon Black. Thanks also to our show producer, Kathy Gale. Thanks to Dorval Graham for piloting us through this hour. And of course, you all for being here. I'm Roland Gale, and I pray you have a great week, remembering that Jesus is our joy in this season. God bless you.
Thank you for listening to Family Time on Family Radio Love 101 FM. We're broadcasting from Kingston, Jamaica.